Smile, me, chat, join for networking.
Hello there, welcome along. This is 4NTV. Great to have your company. This is episode number 3. And as always, the star of the show is with us today. It is Mr. Brad Burton. Brad, great to see you today.
Awesome, Steve, awesome.
Boy, you guys are really getting busy out there at the moment, aren't you?
Oh, you know, as always, before networking, we're always moving forward. And this entire show, as you're going to find out, is going to cover some of those amazing things that we've been doing.
Got some great stuff lined up, in fact. Just to give you a bit of a tease of what we have got coming up in the programme, have a look at this. So what we got here, this is you down by the seaside, isn't it?
Absolutely. This was Seaside 4 Networking. We had over 73 4 networkers from around the UK coming together for an amazing event, and this is something we intend to do across the UK. This is 4 Networking HQ. We run the 4 Networking TV HQ sessions where we had 16 speakers coming down there, and you can see these full episodes of inspiration on 4networking.tv. And this was also my 3D scanning. So I got 3D scanned by 4 Networking members from 3Form UK. Look at this. Wow. And you get to see a 3D Brad, which is heading around the network as we speak.
Now, the thing we've got to remember about that is actually a miniature sculpture, isn't
Absolutely.
it, of you? It's a very small sculpture.
That one's made of ceramic, that one, Steve, but we've also got a plastic one, which is slightly more hard-wearing.
Fantastic. But more importantly, I suppose, they're just the bits and pieces that we've got to show. But little teasers. We've also got 2 great guests with us today. Who we got?
Well, the first guest is 9 years ago. I remember this gentleman was due to retire. He was just heading towards his retirement. And I said to him, you've got 2 options right now. Your first option is getting an orange pinner and working at B&Q. Or the second option is being an area leader for 4 Networking. What would you like to do? Boys and girls, 9 years on, we have 4 Networking legend John Raine. John Raine is a 4 Networking legend. He's also based over in Bristol, and he runs 4 Networking over the regional for us for several groups. John, now 9 years on, tell us, how did that happen? How did you end up in 4 Networking, and why haven't you retired? That's the question.
I came out of corporate life. Yeah. I'd always worked all my life, being a farmer's son. I thought, well, I've got to do something. Yeah. And I invested in a franchise. And I was told, and quite rightly so, that one of the most cost-effective ways of getting business is networking. Right. But unfortunately, I went to a networking organisation, and because of their rule of single profession, single occupation, I was turned down. But then I had this email from a guy called Brad Burton, and then the most important thing you probably ever did, which I tell people to this day, you followed it up with a phone call. And it was that phone call that got me into 4 Networking. Isn't
it funny, John, because you think about that, there's an over-reliance right now on social media, Facebook, Twitter and the likes, and that old school, how quaint of picking the phone up and actually picking the, and look at that now, John, 9 years on, your journey within 4 Networking has been immense, and even down to, Steve said the star of the show. I don't believe I am. I think the members are the stars of the show, and you have been an exceptional member, but you're going nowhere, John. So why haven't you retired? 74 and not out, John?
I have to be honest that the fact that you keep giving me these roles in 4 Networking, that's the reason. I mean, yes, I'm running a business. Yes, I love my business. Yes, I love getting new clients. But every now and again, you'll say, would you do this, John? Would you take this on? You take that on? I mean, okay, my role as a regional network leader is not quite as large as it was, because I now have a small group of meetings. Sure. But in actual fact, you asked me to do a business show at Cheltenham Racecourse. I'm doing that. You've asked me to do some troubleshooting in Scotland. I've done that, and I'll always do that for you, Brad.
See, John is the warhorse of 4 Networking. You know what I mean? I've learnt so much, and John has taken me under his wing. But this is the great thing about 4 Networking is, Josh Pears, who did 4 Networking TV last week in the studio, he's 21. We've got John at 74, and you've got this entire raft of experience and different knowledge. What makes a 4 Networking legend, John? I mean, I genuinely, you mean so much to me, individual, but you are a legend. But what makes a 4 Networking legend? And can anyone be a 4 Networking legend?
Of course they can, if they just grasp the nettle, if they engage with all the people they meet. If you're asked to do a role in 4 Networking, approach it professionally, do a good job, and the rest follows from there.
I was going to say to John, I mean, what do you think fundamentally for you has been the advantage to your business of 4 Networking? What have you, as a small business, got out of it?
Well, I think that the networking in itself intrinsically, it is the most, as I said earlier, the most cost-effective way to bring you business. And one thing leads to another. I mean, one of the great things that for networking, and there's so many, is when I meet somebody and they say, "John, do you know that person you told me about at that meeting I saw you at 6 weeks ago? I'm now doing business with them." And the feeling, it's a glow that you get. There's no monetary advantage, but it's a wonderful feeling that that person has taken your advice, has been in touch with the other person, and they're doing business. And that is such an amazing feeling. And I'll miss all that when I finish with 4 Networking.
But not yet.
Those are the sort of things that I hope not.
John, you're going nowhere. We're not letting you go. The old warhorse, we're going to put some chainmail on you again and you're going out to battle. You know, if you think about, we've been through a journey personally, you know, as friends, and we've shared our experiences. You know, when that franchise of yours went kaput, and that was through that was through no doing of yours, from head office, and the next thing it's gone. You then transferred over to your business. And do you want to tell us a little bit about your business in 20 seconds?
The first business was IT support. The franchise all went bust. And then a gentleman in 4N, Tom Lawrence, he was looking for someone to sell his products in the South and West. And I said, "Tom, I've got an idea. I can set up Tarka TLC on the back of the company I've got." And he gave me the opportunity, so that's what I've been doing. So therefore, I've kind of transferred business-wise as a result of meeting a business person in 4 Networking.
See, that's an interesting one, because Tom from in Harrogate is 200 miles away from John, and somewhere along the way, this network's allowed you to connect. So we're going to round off now, John. What's next? What's next for you, John?
I really don't know. Just more 4N, I hope.
You know what? It's a difficult age, isn't it, John, for you, 74?
Well, when you're too young to be a dirty old man and too old to be a toy boy, it is a very difficult age.
I love it. John, I've just got a question. Of all the years that you've been in business, and all the years you've been involved with 4 Networking, if somebody was coming along to 4 Networking today, from your years of experience, what advice would you give them?
The advice I would give them is to understand what membership's all about, really appreciate all that 4 Networking offers, online and offline, and get yourself involved. I mean, one of the things I always say to new members is the group that you join, that's your hub. That's your hub. It's important to relate to your hub and see people on a regular basis. But then you need to go out and use the passport, get out to other groups. But always have the hub there. That's where your core business is. That's where people relate to you. The fact that that's where they met you initially.
Steve, you see why I love him.
Next year, I can see it.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. You're going to be back again next year. I can see that already. We look forward to that happening. I mean, it is fascinating, and I think that is a testament, isn't it, to what 4 Networking is all about.
You know, Steve, we were just talking off camera a second ago, and I remember John when he had black hair.
John, I can't remember that.
No, well, I can, John. But also, John remembers.
There's nothing wrong with not having black hair.
Well, listen, John remembers when I had hair, he said, which is quite funny. You know, but you look at this whole thing here, and it's amazing that we've got this culture which actually works for everyone. So you've got a situation where someone like our John understands what we was about, what this movement with 4 Networking was about. And honestly, I'm proud to call you a friend. Forget 4 Networking, I'm proud to call you a friend.
Thank you very much.
And John has been there for me personally when I've lost my way. You know, I'm human, I'm fallible, I've lost my way as a business person, I've lost my way as an individual, and John's been there to put an arm on my shoulder and ensure that I was good. So I'm thankful for that, and it's a pleasure to see him on 4 Networking TV.
Well, John, it's been fantastic having you with us today. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you.
I think the thing that also strikes me as well is that 4 Networking isn't just about a single place, a single hub, it's countrywide. Right. But let's go back to where the pair of you met, down by the seaside.
Western Supermare, and we just run Seaside 4 Networking, where we had over 70 people from around the UK, 4 Networkers coming to have not only Kiss Me Quick Arts and Candy Floss, but also some networking.
I like to move it.
Website 4networking.biz to use our online networking facilities every day.
Coffee, healthy coffee. Healthy coffee, you say, unbelievable.
Together build. Roger, member, and want to present to this group. Martin! Free to continue networking. And that's it, I'm going to close the meeting there. It's been fantastic!
Absolutely fantastic. Just amazing. When you see something like that and you see a group of people all getting together and really, really getting into what business is all about, that must make your heart glow with pride.
You know, that was our third group, Western Supermare group, and to see that, and I was actually married in that very room. Genuinely married.
Really?
And I met John
Not on
Raine.
the same day?
No, not on the same day, although I did have wedding for networking. I actually had a networking event at my wedding. Don't ask, honestly, go and Google it. But no, I met John Raine in that very room. And this is the thing with it, it's just 9 years on, even it blows me away just to see people, and we had people from Cambridge, from Bedfordshire, from Manchester, all came around to that Seaside 4 networking, ecstatic. And I think the thing is, with 4 networking, as we've seen with John, we've got completely diverse ages, types of businesses. In fact, that leads me nicely onto this. We had a really diverse business in 4 networking, one that you probably wouldn't think within 4 networking. Should we roll the VT?
Absolutely. Have a look at this.
Yeah, it's been over a month now. All right, it's not really any good. All right. Hi, Brad. This is 3Form UK. We do 3D printing. Look at that. Amazing, isn't it? Anyway, so, this is Matt.
High five. High five. That's what we're talking about.
Chris, tell me about these printers. I mean, you know, what kind of money we're looking at here?
Well, for the really expensive one down here, that's going to be about £50,000, but that's a serious industrial machine.
Right.
And these ones start from about 1,800 to under £1,000. So they're accessible for you and me.
Tell me, when you do the 3D Brad that we're doing today, are we using this one or are we using this one?
We only use the best view, Brad.
Chris Nagel's 3-4.
And I think that's what shows the diversity of what 4 networking is all about. Got one of you here, a teeny weeny one. There are 2, in fact. We've got one that is a little bit lighter, but this one, the detail is incredible. Tell us about the day and about the company too.
So 3Form, these guys are based over in Somerset, and this one here is that what they produced, and if you look at the face there, it's just awesome. But this is plastic. This is plastic. And what we wanted to do for a bit of fun is we wanted to get a 3D Brad. The purpose behind it was to get, as a marketing tool. So we got this one done, which is spectacular by the guys at 3Form. This uses the £50,000 printer. This uses a £3.6 million bit of kit.
Gosh.
£3.6 million. Only about 60 quid, but nonetheless, we're just using it from a marketing perspective to send this around the network. So this Brad will be coming to your network for networking group near you, because I can't get around to all the 200 plus groups anymore. So we're sending Brad, mini Brad. So we've got a couple of them going around the network.
And I'll tell you what is amazing about that is the detail on them as well, for that matter. If you get an opportunity to see them, of course, you'll be able to do that. But do watch out for them. They could be coming to a 4 networking event near you any day now. You are watching 4 Networking TV. Brad Burton and myself, Steve Harden. I'm just sitting here steering, but he's doing all the driving. And it's always great, as always, to have you with us. Now, don't forget, if you have any comments, any views, anything that you want to bring up on future editions of the programme, simply get in touch with Brad. You can follow him, of course, on Twitter, or you can follow the whole organisation, of course, at 4NHQ on Twitter too. You can also email them, of course, on phone. So
old school, Steve, old school.
Old school.
Steve, we have our next guest coming up, and we've got a big announcement. We did talk about this on social media, that we've got a big announcement, and it's either a really positive announcement or it's a really sad announcement, depending on which way you look at it.
So then, the big announcement, but sad but good.
I think so. I think so. Why don't we bring our next guest on?
Let's do that right now.
Steph Thomas, 4
I'm here already.
Networking Director, 4 Network Director and author of
Business Networking for Dummies. 4 Networking Network Director for now.
Tell us about that, Steph.
I'm leaving 4N, Brad.
Shock face, shock face.
Is that news?
No, it's not news. Steph and I had a conversation about 6 weeks ago. I got a FaceTime and he said to me, listen, in fact, why don't we share this with the community, because no secrets with 4 Networking. I got a FaceTime 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, and it went like this.
And I'm not leaving 4N really, but I am stepping down as a director. Let's get that straight from the outset. I always say to people in my seminars that if you don't love what you're doing for a living, go and find the thing that you do love and do that instead. And I joined this network 7.5 years ago. I became a member of the team in October 2007.
Some people serve less time for murder, don't they?
I know they do, but I've been on the national team for 3.5 years, and you know what? When I came onto the national team, I don't think we need to go into details, but there'd been a bit of turbulence. I think that's the best expression.
It is when it's on camera.
When it's on camera, and when it's being recorded. But most importantly, there were a couple of networks going directly for us.
Yep.
There were people who thought that they could take on 4Networking and actually be 4Networking, and they took some of our teams. And you brought me on board to, I think you said, get on your bike and help us out around the country. I think that was the expression.
Slightly more candid words than that, I think, probably would have been coming from my mouth, but nonetheless.
Yeah, you told me not to say it on camera.
Right, okay.
But I was facing something that was broken. And when I was a kid, I used to play with Lego.
Right.
And I liked, when you got the Lego out of the box and it was just all bits, I liked putting it together. When it was built, I wandered off and did something else.
I broke it up again.
Well, if I could
Give him a chance, he'll break it up in no time.
Well, I sort of said this to you the other day. If I could break 4Networking again so that we could rebuild it, I'd do that. But actually, the role's become a management role. The network's stable now.
You know, for me as managing director to be hearing this back, I get it. Yeah. I get it. You know, Steph and I are pals. I remember the first day you walked into 4Networking, and I was there, and you couldn't make it in the morning for the meeting, for the full meeting, because you was at another networking event, and you had a requirement to be there. And he turned up, and I was doing a foresight at the time. Steph walked in, and my opening words to Steph in person were,
ladies and gentlemen, it's like a fat Paul Burrell.
Brilliant.
I'm not sure the joke works anymore.
No. So
I was 2 stone lighter at the time.
That's right. So he was the royal butler for Diana.
Yep.
You know, and he looked like him at the time, and he was quite constant. But the point is this. The point is this. I get it. You know, when you write a book called Get Off Your Arse, and the purpose is actually to tell your employer to shove his job up the arse if you're not feeling it. You know, he's not feeling it, but we're all friends. And this is the thing, because the rumour mill in 4Networking, it's like a political party in some respects. You know, things get out. This is. But there's rumours that you and I fell out.
We've fallen out. I've heard this. I've heard it enough times in the last few weeks that it must be true.
We've not fell out. You know, we are still friends.
And the thing is that you're not actually leaving 4Networking, are you? Okay, you're stepping down from that role, but you're still going to be involved, but you're going to be going to meetings, you're still part of 4Networking the community, aren't you?
Hey, he'll be paying 12 quid like everyone else now. Telling you.
Have we not agreed that bit? My severance. When I joined, Steve, I became a group leader straight away. The week that I joined, I came onto the 4Networking team. So I've been a group leader, group coordinator, marketing coordinator, area leader, regional leader, and network director. Why on earth would I leave? I've got quite a big reputation for good or for bad around the network. I hope it's quite good.
I think it's fair to say he's probably got the second biggest reputation in 4Networking. You know, and that's
really flattering.
Well, it's true. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. You know, this is the thing. Look. You know, as part of where Steph on his toes, he's not really going. And when I say he's not really going, we've got him working on a consultancy basis. He's going to be helping us with training, exceptional training, and also you're going to be helping us with training, inducting new members, that kind of stuff. What next for you, Steph? So you're going to stay within the network, but what next for you? And can I just say, I absolutely admire what he's done here. This isn't kicking the sandcastles over. This isn't over 4Networking. No, this is honourable stuff. And I, for one, as managing director, respect this man. Like, you know, honestly, this is another guy like John Raine who's been there for me, and I will continue to be here for him in whatever capacity we can do that. So what next for you, Steph?
You know, it's quite flattering. I'm getting some offers at the moment for speaking engagements, for working with some of the bigger franchises around the country.
It needs bigger businesses now. It needs bigger businesses.
And I've been doing some training work with a couple of franchises, as you know. But my role in 4N is full-time, so I haven't been able to fully take those on and turn some stuff away. So I've got the opportunity to do some training and some speaking out there, and I'm going to take that. People have been coming to me and wanting me to help them with networking as well. And yeah, I'm going to be selling myself into that. And you know this, there is a second book on its way, which I've started writing. You and I are disagreeing about the title of it. I like it, you hate it.
Do you want to share it?
Yeah, yes, I will. And I'll ask
take a poll on it.
Let's take a poll on it. Well, I came up with another idea yesterday. I want to go for a book called Extreme Networking, How to Build Your Network Quickly and Profitably.
No. It didn't have the sub thing, and it actually starts working now. Right, okay.
So the subtitle has to work. It could be 21st century networking,
right.
because I think the networking arena has changed with social media, with things like YouTube, how the networking arena has changed. But extreme networking, I just fell in love with.
Good. Well, you know what? Can I just say, this is what it's about. Forget what I'm saying. This is your success or failure is going to be defined by your decisions, Steph. And this is what you've done. This is this brave one of basically jumping out of a really well-paid and lucrative opportunity into what? No, listen. You know, this is a straight conversation, and maybe we should do it off camera. But this is no.
I think we will.
Yeah, of course. But you know, I admire that, because you're not going to starve to death, right? You've got a little bit of timber to go anyway, Steph, so you're okay on that front.
Thanks for that.
But this is a full networking success story, and you know, in some respects, I'm so proud of that time when I got a face, and this is great because I'm sharing this on Full Networking TV. So for all to see, you know, when I got a FaceTime call off Steph at 8:30 in the morning or whatever, I knew he wasn't for turning. I knew, and we've had wobbles in the past about no to his back. Your mind was definitive. You was made up on this one.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I mean, you were the first phone call I made that day. I knew before I called you, and you do FaceTime, so I have to actually look at your face.
Sorry.
You don't. Yeah. So we're in dressing gowns at 7 o'clock in the morning, whenever it was. But I knew that before I phoned you, I had to have my mind made up and be stoic about that decision.
Well, I mean, it's big news for Full Networking as an organisation, and I'm sure that Brad and everybody that's watching this that know you personally would wish you all the very best. You mentioned something there, because as always, you know, that's about you, but lots of people come and they talk to you and they say, can you help me? You know, what can you give me? You know, I know you. How can you help me?
Give us some networking tips, Steph.
Yeah. So what would you say to people? You're talking about the new book coming out. Maybe there's something that you found. But what does the future hold for networking? How do I do it more effectively when I go to one of the meetings? What should I be thinking about before I walk in the door? I know we've had a similar conversation before, but it really is important. A lot of people miss opportunities when they walk in through the door at a networking event. I think the Full Networking format drives them towards success.
Sure, that's right.
But what would you say would be the key things to remember?
Building your network successfully is really simple. It's just not that easy. Every big opportunity which I've got coming up has started with a little conversation somewhere. What most people do, they don't do enough little conversations. Or if I've done anything differently to other people, I've just done more of it. I've been out there. That has a number of effects. I talk to more people than anyone else in this network, with the exception of probably my colleague here. But we talk to people.
My right honourable colleague.
My right honourable colleague. The
Your
learned,
learned.
colleague. Yeah, I'm giving me keys and everything back later on this afternoon. They're clearing my desk whilst I'm here. But I've probably done more conversations. That puts you in touch with more people. But the other thing which it does is it helps you learn your stuff along the way.
Can I just jump in that actually what Steph has got right, not only has he got the right ingredients, it's also got the recipe right, but it's had the time for that ingredients and recipe to work. Some people have the right ingredients, they have the right recipe.
One of the big opportunities.
You can have that for your next book, Steph.
Thank you. I probably wrote it already. One of the big opportunities which I've got coming up this year, that started from a conversation 6 years ago. Right. With a Full Networking group leader up in the Midlands, a guy called Mike Freddie Gordon, who a lot of people will know. But that conversation has gone on for 6 years, and then all of a sudden, it's turned into a big opportunity.
What you've done there, Steph, you've built up a base of little conversations that are like planting seeds. They're going to grow. Some work, some don't, and so
That's
forth.
right.
But that surely must be the lesson for everybody. Everybody that goes to a Full Networking event. Don't expect it to happen on the day. It may well happen on the day, but it may happen next week, the week after, next month, next year. There's always a future sitting there. But it's putting that investment of your time into communicating and talking to other people.
And learning about the other people around you. I passed £320 worth of business to a 4Networking
That's
member
not a lot
just
of money.
the other day. It's not a lot of money, but I've done that hundreds of times over the years. And the thing is...
That wasn't even queued up, but...
It wasn't, no. But a lot of people expect that if I pass opportunity, if I pass 320 quid worth of business to you, that you've got to pass business back to me. That's not the way that it works. I've been giving out business in this network for 7.5 years. Some of it comes back to me from those people. Some of it comes from completely unexpected places.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more to you in just a few minutes' time. So we'll let you take a breather for a second. But Brad, I mean, 4Networking as an organisation is really moving on at great strides. And you're running a whole host of different events up and down the country, but some that you're really excited about. Tell us about those, why you're doing them and what they are.
Good stuff. So we've got 4Networking TV. This is the studio show. This is 4Networking TV, the studio show. But we've also got 4Networking HQ, the show. And what we're doing there, we're doing a season. A season is 16 episodes of the best 4Networkers coming to 4Networking and doing their stories, doing their foresight, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an insight, not a sales pitch, into a specialist field. And we've got people talking about sales, social media, and human stories.
And is it motivational that they're getting? I mean, will they walk away from it at the end of the day? And what is the kind of thing you're hoping they're going to say to themselves when the people who actually watch these presenters, when they walk out the door, what are they going to say to themselves? I feel uplifted, I feel motivated.
Well, you know, Steve, it's one of those, in that actually the 16 episodes we've got on our first season that you can find on 4Networking TV, we've put 2 episodes up at this stage. People from all walks of life coming together, and you've got people, 4Networkers, coming from around the UK to Taunton HQ to film, of which it's then captured, and other 4Networkers from around the UK can hear their story. Don't listen to me waffling on. Roll the VT.
What's your scoring system for your life as individuals?
And try and be that person that creates happiness whenever they enter the room.
Keep away from the psychic vampires and the mood hoovers.
How is it possible for someone to leave school with no qualifications, particularly no English qualification, and to go on to write a best-selling book that would knock Robbie Williams off the #1 spot? How is that possible?
And that is the single best thing that's ever happened to me.
There is no downside for asking for the order, but the thing to do is do it with a smile.
That was the question, how am I going to get there? Not, I want to be there, it was, how am I going to get there?
So yeah, go out there, live your life, forget your past.
You can surprise yourself by deciding to do something outside your comfort zone.
So go out and do it. Don't wait, Steve. Make it happen, right? And get out and do it.
Do you know what? When the chips are down, pull your knickers up, box on.
Just an absolutely amazing event, and of course you could be there as well. Brad, what kind of reaction have you had?
It's been absolutely amazing. You know, you can get involved. If you're a 4Networking member, you can get involved at 4Networking TV. Go on the forum and have a look. We've got a 4Networking TV, a 4NTV sub-forum. Get on there, tell us your story, and you might make it to the next season.
Listen, that's fantastic. We've still got Stefan with us. Stefan, you did promise us that you were going to unveil all.
Listen, Steph, give us 3 tips, as fast as you can be. 3 tips that will really help people get on with the networking successfully.
How to get more out of 4Networking. 1, do more of it.
Right.
Building your network takes some effort. You need to get up a few mornings a week, get out there networking, building your network by seeing more people. Secondly, be yourself. If there's one thing I've learned is that people either like you or don't you, either way is, or don't like you. Either way is fine, but don't try and pretend to be something that you're not. And thirdly, follow up. People have these conversations and expect everyone to remember them. Follow up, use the 4Networking forum, get on social media, and pick up the phone, going back to what John Raine said earlier on.
Can't argue with that. You know something? You know, a workman is only as good as his tools, and we know that you are going to be heading into this business environment, and you need the best tool, Steph, that is available to any single business owner in today's environment. Steph, we bought you a little gift to start you on your way. Honestly.
I wasn't expecting that.
An iPhone 6 Plus, my friend. Genuinely,
thanks,
honestly, really, as a
I'm
no,
touched.
I mean it. Listen, thank you for everything. Thank you for everything.
No,
Steph.
not at all. Thank you.
Sincerely, as you know, managing director for networking, this is a guy who's been there for me once again, and he's been there for the network. Boys and girls, Steph Thomas.
Thank you very much indeed. That's kind of you. Thank you.
Well done. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been a pleasure
Thank you
working
for
with you. And
having
I'm
me.
sure we're going to be seeing a lot more of you as well across the 4Networking organisation, because just because you're disappearing out the door in that particular managerial position, and you get a phone though, so you're absolutely committed to us.
But he will be paying £12 for breakfast in the morning. Sorry, Steph.
I'm not sure we've negotiated that yet.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us today. Hope you've enjoyed the show. It has been 4N TV. It's been episode number 3. Don't forget as well, there's a whole host of great information. If you haven't, maybe you're brand new to 4 Networking, maybe you haven't been to an event, maybe you're looking for some organisation, some networking organisation that you can go to, and you've never found the right fix. Today's the day. This is the man that runs it. He is the managing director of 4N TV. What he can give to your business is unmeasurable. It's the kind of thing that will maybe transform your success to make you more successful if you're starting off. The advice that will be in those rooms when you arrive is just amazing. It's true to say that, isn't it?
Steve, you know, 9 years on, we've always got people joining 4 Networking. We've always got people joining of all sorts of business types and sizes. There's not a single business out there that 4 Networking won't work for. But do check us out on 4networking.tv as well. You can see all this kind of content and the new speakers, which we talked about, those 4 sites. Great show, Steve. Great show as always. Thanks for your company. We do it all again very soon. Till then, bye for now. Bye-bye.
Smile, be chat, join 4 Networking. Smile, be chat, join 4 Networking.